invited for an important topic, Kick Off 2024, Colin Lavering, which is the chairman of British Chamber of Commerce, and we want to give you some insights about what we are thinking. Colin, thank you very much for accepting.
You're welcome, and Happy New Year to
Happy
you.
New Year. And I would like to talk because we know very much that in Romania there are a lot of quite many economical changes, fiscal changes, legislation changes in terms of physical person, juridical persons, construction, agriculture, and IT. So, which is, from my opinion, describing 2024 in terms of we'll have 5 elections as well during the year. I would describe 2024 in one word: instability. What is your opinion about 2024?
I think the same. I think I call them distractions, and there is a danger that we can get pulled into these distractions. But and you mentioned about legislation and changes in the fiscal code and that, which are very frustrating,
Yeah.
I think. But I was at an event before Christmas, and a speaker talked about to a group of CEOs, and he said, Romania has had 10 prime ministers in the last 11 years.
Exactly.
Imagine if the companies in this room had 10 CEOs in the last 10 years, would you have been able to cope? And obviously the answer was clear. But he's saying, despite that, despite all of these disruptions and distractions going on, I congratulate you, and I agree totally with him. We have to congratulate private enterprise in Romania and the growth in industries like the automotive and outsourcing, and that which have actually thrived over the last 2 or 3 years. So you're absolutely right. It is a frustrating distraction, and I think, people want stability, not instability.
Exactly.
We have the situation in Ukraine. We have this horrible thing that's going on in the Middle East as well. And again, they can be distracting, and particularly for investors, are kind of hesitant. Let me wait until the dust settles before I invest. I think as Romanian businesses, and living here 12 years, I'm very proud to be part of this business community, that I've seen it's, okay, no, we're going to keep going. I think Romanian business ability to navigate through challenging times is incredible.
So you should, I think, what you want to say that we have managed quite well on our own hands.
Exactly, and just think how good it could be if that partnership with business and government, and I do see, I see some new faces in the ministry at events, and it's kind of refreshing for me because I'm seeing people with a business understanding. They're actually in the departments that they have a skill sector in, and I'm optimistic. I'm seeing much more communication and collaboration in the auto industry and those key industries. So I'm kind of optimistic that there's more of a collaboration going on. There has to be. There has to be, because if there isn't, 2024, you're right, is going to be a very, very challenging and distracting year.
In terms of this, from as far as I'm doing, so I'm doing executive search for 27 years, and also I'm involved in training and personal development. I'm seeing quite a big request in the market for new type of trainings. So Romania, when the corporate companies came into Romania, they offer quite a big, important package of trainings for employees. During last years, the trainings decreased quite a lot in the companies, but the people are requesting now one of major topic to remain in a company, which we know that the retention is one top priority for each of us. One of the topic is training. They want modern training. They want adaptability and practical trainings. Because as I said to you, attracting talents into your company, it's one important issue. Human resources in general, potential and people success. People success is business success. So practical, we have to come back to the idea that we need to make training to prepare our employees, and not to think about if we train them, they will leave. No, the people will stay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what about the trainings you think are necessary
Yeah,
in the companies?
it's really interesting what you say. That first of all, that, just taking your point, that many companies, that they need austerity measures. Of course, it is a challenging time financially, and usually the first victims are training and marketing, for instance. And I think what you're saying and what we're saying collectively is, don't stop the training. And what I found is, I think, with living in Romania, and I'm married to a Romanian as well, is that need for more measurable development that goes on. And I think we have a phrase, Daniela, about checkbox training, that
Yeah.
there's, we talk about austerity measures and saving money. Well, one of the things I'd advise everybody is really take a look at your investment in training, because if it's just checkbox, if you're just putting people through training for the sake of it, A, they won't absorb and use that training, and B, they won't feel the empathy and the love of the company to help them develop. They'll just feel part of a process. So I think with training, our advice is to everybody is make sure the number one beneficiary of your training program is your people. If they can feel that you are focusing on them, that gives them that sort of much more loyalty, and in particular if they know they have a next step and a next step, even if that's over the next 2 or 3 years, it helps them to feel part of a community. And I think, to me, there's in certain industries, there's quite a young workforce of average age of 27, 28 in the outsourcing industry, for instance. They maybe still be living at home or in a new relationship, or youngly married with children. It's what do they say when they go home? Do they when they go home, do they say, well, my company really looks after me, or do they not? And to me, that's the biggest indicator. So I think training has to be really looked at. No more spending money on this checkbox. There is a statistic about what they call unlearning. So we can go through a training, and maybe the trainer's great, maybe he or she is very entertaining, and
Exactly.
after it they fill out the form and say, yeah, this person was great, I love the training, and then the company thinks, oh great, we've done that negotiation skills.
And we will have results.
When we will have results, when the reality is they've been entertained, and the
Exactly.
unlearning over the next few days has been so dramatic that nothing has come from that.
Exactly.
And I think the final thing is the indicator. It's not just the measurable impact of training, it's the visible impact of training as well. You see it and you feel it, and I've seen this when I've done tailored programs. People have commented me, they expect my training to be good. That's what a training provider should be. But what they didn't expect is the spirit that it's created within the organisation, and that loyalty and that camaraderie. I can't think of the word. That's really sort of made them want to stay with the company.
Also, one issue which I would like to discuss, both of us, is regarding the age in the companies, because I repeat myself, in executive search we are seeing quite strange situation in which people of 49 or 50 years old are not hired anymore. My opinion about this is the following. So practical, in Romania, we just stopped with the generations which we said that are not adaptable, which in fact I'm here, I'm adaptable as far as I can believe about myself. So my opinion is that a company should hire people over 50, because making a team, young people with senior people, the digitalization of young people with the practical experience with the seniors one will be given to the company the right fit for developing their own business. So I think they should hire, this is my opinion, people with 50 years old, over 50 years old, because they can be the mentors in terms of practical experience for the young generation. Because I'm seeing that everybody wants young, and we know very well that this is inside practical. They are thinking of companies, they are making a reducing on the cost, saving costs, but in fact they are spending much more in trainings, in practical training in young people, instead of having seniors who is training on the job the young generation. So my first question would be, because I'm really curious about this, we didn't have time to talk about this. Is in UK the same situation that the people over 50s are not hired?
It's actually a good point because, well, there's two things. One of them in the UK, there's obviously the thing about age anyway. And of course I'm going to say people well over 50 should be
Yeah,
hired anyway. Of
yeah.
course I'm going to say that. But the age thing, although you don't need to be a detective to work out how old somebody approximately is by their photograph and their experience. But the age is, you're just not allowed to ask somebody's
Exactly.
age. But from a practical sense, I think there's two things have happened. One of them we've already touched on is that the loyalty. So people over 50 come from a very different background. And yes, you're right, you
Yes.
touched on it, Daniela, that this sort of short-term fixed thinking of an organization to bring in somebody because they have, and it's kind of a task orientation to say, okay, I need somebody expert in software or whatever. You need that expertise. But when you want to change or develop that person, it's much more challenging. And the retention of that person is much stronger. And it's incredible the amount of money that is actually spent just to replace, you know this from
Exactly.
your recruit, just to replace somebody with the training and the whole process. And post-COVID, what we've seen is that reverse into that much more empathetic ways of working and everything else, and that loyalty. So I often say to people, if you have a 16-year-old child, what are you going to tell them is the best thing to go and learn at university? Well, the immediate reaction is, well, IT.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we know, Daniela, that today it's much easier to learn and quicker to learn something if you want to. I made a joke last week and I said, I think I could have an interview next week for a brain surgeon, and I think I could get through part of the process just by going on YouTube and learning
Yeah.
about brain surgery.
Exactly.
So the ability to learn, and IT, we talk about digitalization, even people who have expertise in digitalization, they're going to need uptraining and uptraining. We've got the advent of AI now. So those people who are experts now are going to have to keep learning. And the point I'm making is your cognitive ability to adapt is much stronger if you have those traditional learnings in terms of the arts and literature and everything else, which a lot of the over 50s have had, and which is I recommend if I have somebody's 15 or 16-year-old child in front of me, I say, make sure, you can do the IT, but make sure you don't forget the traditional subjects, because that will keep your mind adaptable. So I think the 50 pluses, for the reasons you said, can contribute enormously, and to be honest, loyalty brings passion and enthusiasm.
Exactly.
I was doing an MBA event over on Sunday, and I was by far the oldest tutor by 20 years. But all the feedback I got was, Colin, where'd you get your energy from?
Yeah.
And I say, I get it from you. My passion for what I do. So I think the answer is a really nice, and you're exactly right, a nice combination of the two is really what you need. That the over 50s or over 60s even can really bring some value and that consistency and stability into a company.
So, what would you think that in 2024 will be the main provocations or companies in Romania? I'm speaking also of the small, medium enterprises, but also for the corporate ones, in terms of labor force.
I, well, there's kind of a bit of some paradoxes
Yeah.
going on in terms of hybrid working, for instance. That's a
Yeah,
that's a big
correct.
challenge out there. And there's things going on. I think for some organisations, yes, the hybrid working can work. There's some where it actually creates almost a social divide within an organisation of
Yes.
those who can work from home and those who can't. I think that's coupled with the talent shortage in Romania as well, because we know there's Romanians are great travellers professionally. Like in the UK, for instance, there's 1.3 million Romanians living and working in the UK. So there is this great sort of exodus, and I think we need to have an encouragement for people to
come back.
to repatriate, because it's becoming an issue on talent. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean it's an employer's market or an employee's market? It's probably an employee's market at the moment because they can actually negotiate and choose. But there is a shortage. There is a shortage. I think, talking as an expat, I think Romania is one of the most beautiful, easy countries to live in. I'd say easy in terms of safety and everything else to live in. So I think what will happen for organizations, they will have a need for two reasons. One, to actually go and employ people remotely from other countries. The challenge with that is the development of people here in terms of promotion. This may be untrue, but I would think from the practical sense, if there's a young 28-year-old Colleen in a company, but Colleen is only at the office once a week. When Colleen's sort of development and an ability to be seen and promoted, I think statistically is going to be less than Alina, who's there 4 or 5 days a week. So I think there's something to challenge in terms of the companies not accepting that hybrid is okay and everybody is okay working from home. I think there has to be a continuing encouragement and responsibility of organizations to get those people back and have that engagement and collaboration.
You and also me, we are working very much with people. Both of us, we are working in trainings, coaching, mentorship, and executive search. And we are seeing quite often in companies, because we are speaking now about trends into 2024. Now it's a huge challenge between managing people in the office and managing people offline. So I think this is a major provocation for companies for 2024, because they have to decide, as you said, to be hybrid or on-site, but also the managers should adapt. Am I right? What do you think about this in 2024? Would the manager manage to go business far away from this site, from this point of sight?
It's a tough. I'm going to make the easy answer and say it depends on the situation. But I think we know, Daniela, that it's a challenge for we talk about managers and leaders. And, there is a difference there, and really having that ability to nurture productivity. And I do hear at events people say, well, our productivity is as good or better with people working from home. But I question that. I question whether that in the long term for their mental health as well as their learning. And I always say, we talk about young people, and I keep referring to young people because Romania has an enormous talent pool of young people here, which we want to keep here. But I always think as a young person, we talk about parenting. We're parented until we're sort of 14, 15 and 16, and then we go off and we do things. Yeah. Well, I think young people still want that. We don't call it parenting, we call it mentoring. But to me, it's the same thing. And once you lose that connection with a young individual, and I know even at my age, I still want people like you, whatever, to give me advice. It's, hey, Colin, let me talk you through this or coach me on things. And I think there's this opinion that people working hybrid or whatever, they're okay, but they're not. There's people right now maybe watching this from their apartment or with their parents' house or wherever they are, and the freedom. And I think my mother always said, life is about choice. As long as you have choices in your life. And I think when they said to people about, do you want to work from home or do you want to work at the office? The answer from everybody was, I want to work from home. Not necessarily because they wanted to, but because that was the better choice out of the two. And now it's sort of transpired into what we have. So I think hybrid working, it can work very, very well, has to be managed. But all the businesses out there have got to keep an eye on this connection. I read somewhere that 24% of Romanians who were surveyed said they were looking for a new job in 2024. Yes. Exactly. And we know we're LinkedIners. We only have to open up my LinkedIn right now, and there'll be somebody that I know is saying, "I'm just announcing I'm starting my new job with so-and-so." Congratulations on that, but this is a big challenge.
Yeah, to make, let's say, the summary of our discussion of trends in 2024, I would not go in trend for closing. I would ask you why the young generation should remain in Romania.
Okay, what a great question. Well, I guess I would answer it by all of the young Romanians that I've spoken to in the UK, and I said, why? Why? Because quite often when I'm presenting and I'm presenting Romania, people come up to you and go, wow, this, I always say Romania is like it's wine. You don't realize how wonderful it is until you've had a taste of it. So people coming here who've never been to Romania, I've relative recently, was like, wow, this country is amazing. But when I talk to a young Romanian and say, why? Why did you leave? It tends to be more of a political thing. Well, our government is this and going back to what we talked about earlier. Well, actually, even with what you might call a bad government in the past, this country's done pretty good. What do you really want in your life in terms of the quality and everything else? Because these are people that have left their families. Some
Yes.
of them have left their wife and children or their husband and children to go and go and work. So I would say the opportunities here, in terms of, I would say, look at your net salary. Don't look at your gross salary. Look
Yes.
at the what you actually get in terms of the cost of living and food, which I know is rising. I know people watching this go, well, hang on, it's getting more expensive. I know salaries are going up, which is a challenge for employers, as you
Yes.
touched on.
Yeah.
But I think look at the net. But right, get a flip chart out and put the stay in Romania, don't stay in Romania, put the value there and see which one outweighs the other. And I think that's the reality of it, is when you wake up in the morning or on a Sunday evening, you're sat at home and you've got Monday morning to come, how do you feel? How do you really feel? And I think being in a country like Romania, which is just an amazing place, you can feel that. The first time in my life, I just felt that real sort of satisfaction and contentment with my life. And Romania's, very grateful for it, is giving me that. So I say, just come back, forget what your father's saying or some of your friends are saying. Just come back. There's some great opportunities here, some huge multinational companies, good salaries, and a great lifestyle. You just need to realise that it's changed. Forget the government, forget what they're doing. Just look at what else is
Okay.
doing.
Thank you very much for your advice and thank you very much for being with me today.
Thank you.
And to all of you, do not forget what I'm always saying. Whatever you do, do it with excellency. See you next time. Bye.